The Tower of Trust. On the edge of a small, sleepy town where the sky kissed the earth in a golden hue each morning, there stood a peculiar house, tall, crooked, and worn with age. Its very walls whispered of forgotten stories and secrets buried in time. Inside, amidst the clutter of childhood memories and lost moments, a boy named Theo was determined to build the most magnificent tower ever seen. A tower that reached beyond the walls of his room, beyond the horizon, perhaps even beyond the boundaries of what his young heart could fathom. Theo's hands shook with each block he stacked. It was no easy feat. Each piece seemed to rebel against him, teetering and toppling before it could reach the sky he envisioned. He was small, just 6 years old, and the task before him felt insurmountable. His heart pounded in his chest, a mix of frustration and fierce determination. He had seen other children at school build towers with ease, their creations reaching toward the heavens with effortless grace. But no matter how hard Theo tried, his tower fell again and again. He bit his lip, looking at the pile of blocks scattered around him, a battlefield of unfinished dreams. Sweat trickled down his forehead. His small fingers, no matter how carefully he placed the blocks, were not enough to keep the structure from crumbling. He needed help, but who could he ask? Theo looked up, his eyes catching the shadow of his older brother, Luke, standing in the doorway. Luke was everything Theo wasn't: taller, stronger, brimming with quiet confidence. He always seemed to have the answers, the strength to overcome any obstacle. To Theo, Luke was a hero, someone who could do no wrong. Yet, there was something else in Luke's eyes that Theo couldn't quite understand. It wasn't just the typical big brother patience. There was a mystery there, a flicker of something deeper. "Luke," Theo called, his voice small, almost fragile, as he picked up another block that had fallen. "Can you help me?" Luke stepped into the room, his gaze softening as he looked at his little brother. He knew the struggles Theo faced, the doubts that plagued his heart. They were familiar struggles, ones Luke had faced in his own time, but in his own way. The two brothers were different in so many ways, yet connected by an invisible thread. Luke knelt down beside Theo, his large hands effortlessly picking up the fallen blocks and stacking them with precision. "What are you trying to build?" Luke asked, his voice calm and steady. "A tower," Theo answered, his face flushed with embarrassment. "A really big one, bigger than anything I've ever seen." Luke studied him for a moment, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "Why do you want to build it?" Theo hesitated, his small brow furrowing as he struggled to find the right words. Because I can't do it on my own. It's too hard. But if it's big enough, maybe it'll be strong enough to stay up. Maybe it'll reach the sky." Luke nodded, his eyes never leaving his brother. "You know, Theo, sometimes we can't do things alone. But that doesn't mean we have to give up. Sometimes it means we need to trust others to help us. You'd be surprised what we can accomplish together." Theo glanced at his brother, his chest tightening with a mix of hope and uncertainty. He had always admired Luke, but to ask for help, it felt like surrender, like admitting defeat. Yet, as he looked into his brother's eyes, something inside him shifted. Maybe Luke was right. Maybe trusting someone else was the key. Slowly, hesitantly, Theo reached for his brother's hand. "Okay," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "Let's do it together." With that, the two brothers set to work. Theo's small hands placed blocks with care, and Luke's steady, practiced hands guided them, each block stacking higher than the last. The tower began to grow, a beautiful, imperfect creation of effort, trust, and patience. The brothers worked in harmony, each block a testament to their bond, to their willingness to lean on each other when the weight of the world seemed too much to bear. As the tower rose, so did something else, something unspoken but deeply felt. Theo's confidence grew with every block, every layer, every turn of his brother's hand. He began to see the world through a new lens, not as a place of solitary battles, but as a place where strength could be found in unity, in connection, in the quiet, unwavering trust between two people. But just as the tower reached what seemed like its peak, disaster struck. A loud crash echoed through the room, and the tower, fragile in its magnificence, collapsed in an avalanche of wooden blocks. Theo gasped, his heart sinking as he watched the dream crumble before his eyes. He had been so close to building something that would stand tall forever. Luke's hand rested on his shoulder, his presence a comfort amidst the wreckage. "It's okay," Luke said softly, his voice filled with understanding. "Sometimes things fall apart, but that doesn't mean we stop trying. It just means we rebuild together." Theo's eyes welled with tears, his small fists clenched in frustration. "But I worked so hard, Luke. Why did it fall? I thought if we worked together, it would be perfect." Luke's expression softened, his tone gentle but firm. "Nothing is ever perfect, Theo, but that's okay. What matters is that you tried and that you trusted me. And together, we can rebuild it better than before." Theo wiped his tears, looking at the mess around them. The tower may have fallen, but something far more important had been built in its place. A bond of trust, a lesson in resilience, and a newfound understanding that it was not the final product that mattered, but the journey itself. As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, the two brothers sat side by side, their hands still intertwined, their hearts light with the knowledge that the true strength of their tower lay not in its height, but in the love and trust that held it together. And so, Theo learned that trust wasn't just about asking for help when things seemed impossible. It was about believing in others, in their strength, in their ability to see what you couldn't. It was about understanding that the journey was just as important as the destination, and that sometimes the most beautiful things were built from the pieces of something that had fallen apart. In the days that followed, the tower would rise again, higher and stronger, each layer infused with the wisdom of the past and the hope for the future. And as the years passed, Theo would remember the lesson his brother had taught him, the lesson that would shape his life forever. That trust was not a weakness, but a strength that could carry him through any storm, any challenge, and any tower that seemed too tall to climb. In the end, the tower was not just a structure of blocks. It was a symbol of everything Theo had come to understand: the importance of family, of love, of trust, and of the incredible power that comes from believing in each other. And as he grew older, he would tell others the story of the tower built not from the hands of one, but from the hearts of two. And though the tower may have crumbled in the beginning, it was the lesson learned that would stand tall forever.
Whispering echoes.